Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Beardy Reviews. With me today I've got Jake. Say hi, Jake.
How's it going?
Jake's an old friend of mine, and he's just an expert in most things that I'm not an expert in. You know, if I'm nerd, he's nerd 2.0. Today we are going to be talking about the much awaited Batman vs Superman. So to kick off our video, Jake, tell us how it started, Batman vs Superman, how the film got organized, everything.
Well, we know that a few years ago Warner Brothers and DC released Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder. It got mixed reviews at the time, but then in the San Diego Comic-Con 2013 they announced they'd be doing a sequel to the film. Now, this was confirmed by Harry Lennox, who plays General Swanwick in Man of Steel.
That was amazing.
You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Zack Snyder announced that there's going to be a new character in the Man of Steel sequel. When Harry Lennox came out and he read that very famous line from Frank Miller's novel, The Dark Knight Returns. I want you to remember the one man who beat you. From that minute, nerds, geeks everywhere, we all knew
the bat symbol and Superman symbol came on the screen.
Exactly, we all knew Batman's going to be in the film.
Yeah.
We were so excited, especially that we knew it was going to draw inspiration from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, which most Bat fans would argue is probably the greatest Batman story. Some even say the best comic book ever written.
Exactly, although it isn't in the Batman continuity, it is considered one of the best stories ever written.
So then it was Zack Snyder and David S. Goyer writing the script. Before they even announced it, they came up with an idea. It's like, what if we deliver some kryptonite to Wayne Manor?
Yeah.
You know, like that? And then that got them started to thinking, well, hang on a sec, why don't we sort of build a bigger universe than just Superman's world? You know, so they started thinking about, bring Bruce Wayne in, and then obviously you got to have Batman in there. Bruce Wayne's there.
Yeah, of course. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, and you notice the little things as well in Man of Steel, like you saw the LexCorp trucks.
And then when he goes into space, you see the
Wayne Enterprise
satellite. Yeah, exactly.
Which I reckon Batman's pretty pissed off that Superman broke that as well.
So just to add, insult to injury. So let's talk a bit more about the concept behind the film, as in why are they fighting? Where do they stand?
Yeah, this is something I get asked all the time. Like most people are, why are these two people fighting?
Aren't they supposed to be friends?
Exactly, they're meant to be work together and fight crime together, all that stuff. For people who haven't read The Dark Knight Returns, it takes a very different take on Bruce's and Clark's relationship. In this case though, this is not an adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns, this is some influence from it. So
Which I'm happy about. They couldn't just put everything in
Exactly,
it.
so I like the fact that they're just nitpicking from the really good stories.
Yeah, they got a bit of death and family as well.
Exactly, in the trailer we saw the Robin suit with the Joker's riding on it.
Which made me squeal like a little girl, but we'll get onto that.
We'll get onto that a bit later. So following Man of Steel, the destruction of Metropolis, when Superman fought Zod, we see from the trailers that Bruce Wayne was there and he saw this happen, and he saw one of his own buildings crash and obviously kill loads of his employees, friends, and anything like that.
I absolutely love it that everyone is running away from the chaos and he's just going straight into
that shot of him running into it, like to say what it looks like, that little girl.
Yeah, exactly. I absolutely love that.
That was incredible. Like you just see already that he's a badass. Yeah. So obviously we see in the shots as well that Bruce Wayne's really pissed off with Superman, and we're into this world now where it's not like it used to be where Superman's up in the sky and everyone's rooting for him. The world is very divided on who Superman is.
Superman's quite new as well, so people they're not quite sure what he's about yet.
Exactly, and I very like the take that Zack Snyder and co have done. They place Superman as if he actually existed today. Because if someone like Superman did come to our Earth, people would freak out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's very divided. Some people think he's a hero, other people think he's an alien threat.
They're not quite sure. He seems to be doing good, but no one's really sure what the end game is. No one's sure
and Batman is one of those people who just sees what he sees.
Yeah.
And he sees all the destruction, he sees the amount of people dead, and he's like, this guy's a threat, I have to stop him.
This guy is killing people and he's destroying cities, so...
Exactly. But what he doesn't understand is that obviously Superman is not thinking of that. Superman is doing this to save people, to help people.
Absolutely.
The criticism of Man of Steel was all that destruction of Metropolis. But you have to remember, Superman had been Superman for a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally a day. He got his suit, he was flying about for a bit, and he hadn't even saved a kitten from a tree yet. And an alien invasion comes. You got to give him a bit of slack.
Yeah, exactly. He's new to this. He's just
But he means well. We know he means well, but obviously Bruce Wayne, Batman, they don't see that. So that's sort of Batman's view on why he's taking on Superman and Clark Kent. Superman, though, on the other hand, in the persona of Clark Kent, obviously we know he works at the Daily Planet, he's a reporter. Since all this has been happening, the Bat vigilante in Gotham has re-emerged.
He was in retirement, so he was
for
a lot like the Dark Knight.
A lot like the Dark Knight Returns. You know, Superman coming to Earth, that sort of brings him out of retirement, and also, why not take out a couple of scum on the way? He's obviously investigating Batman's actions in Gotham, and he doesn't agree with them. He thinks he's a criminal, even though he is catching criminals and putting them in jail. He's still, you know, brutally wounding them and crippling them.
Absolutely.
It's not the moral way to go. You need to do it through the justice system. But, you know, the truth, justice, and the American way. And he believes that this guy has to be stopped as well. So that's sort of, you know, why these two characters are heading off.
Absolutely.
But we all know at the end of the film, we know this. We know that they're going to team up, and
it's been shown. It's been
shown.
It's called Dawn of Justice for
exactly,
a reason,
and we know there's a Justice League movie coming. So
yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the behind the scenes. So about Zack Snyder, the cast, you know, the characters, the world that they live in, and all that.
Well, we know we got Zack Snyder returning to direct the film and produce the film as well. I really like the relationship he has with his own wife. She produces all his films, and they work as a team, which is kind of cool. And they've also brought in Charles Roven to produce the film, which he produced the Nolan trilogy.
Exactly. So he knows, he's very much enthralled into that world already.
And I just had to say that Warner Brothers have got this new sort of CEO of Warner Brothers, Kevin Sujihara, and very much like in Marvel territory with Kevin Feige, he's the Don.
He's the big man.
We got this guy here, and he's, you know, Warner Brothers are really taking the DC properties seriously now. So they've got a really good team behind them. It seems like they're all working on the same level and good pace. And we've also got David Goyer coming back. Now, we know David Goyer's written loads of comic book stuff before. You know, he's written Blade, he wrote Man of Steel, and I think he had a hand in writing 300 as well.
Did he?
Yeah, the screenplay.
Alright.
Obviously that was an adaptation.
Yeah, of course.
You know, they're bringing in people who know these characters.
It's made by the fans kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what you need to do, and what we're seeing in a lot of things now, in Marvel, in Star Wars especially.
Yeah,
you know, Star Wars was something that needed to be made by the fans.
I'm so happy that not just DC but also Marvel and all those people it's the fans making them. It makes us feel so much closer to them.
It makes me feel like it's in safe hands.
Yeah, when you love so much, it's like it's a little like it's mine. Don't ruin it, please.
Exactly.
But now we're going like okay, you can do it.
We've also got Chris Terrio coming in to not rewrite the script. People get really worried when they say, "Oh, he's coming to rewrite the script."
No, it'll just be like adding.
It's like little touch-ups, you know, dialogue, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just putting the cherry on top of the cake.
Exactly.
Kind of thing,
you know, and if you have a chance to bring an Academy Award-winning writer, he did Argo with Ben Affleck.
If they work well together, then why not?
Exactly, and I also reckon Ben had a little say in the script as well.
I imagine also in directing a little bit. In my mind, I imagine him just talking to Zach and being like, well, "What if we do this?" Like,
I reckon he did, because obviously, you know, currently he's one of the highest directors in form at the moment. Like I think the past 3 or 4 films he's done, they've all been great.
Yeah.
And he's been phenomenal as a director and an actor in all of them.
I didn't used to be a fan of him, to be honest. Like
a lot of people didn't.
Yeah, exactly. But ever since I've seen these recent films that he's done, I've just been like, wow, this is complete 180.
Exactly.
Amazing.
He's upped his game so much.
Yeah.
And then from what we know, that now that he's, you know, Chris Terrio has rewritten sort of Batman v Superman. And he's also finished the first draft for the Justice League. You know, the script's finished for Justice.
And he did it by himself.
What a crazy world we live in, where there's actually a finished script of a Justice League movie.
I know. I'm starting to get those feelings of when they first announced Avengers. Because it's almost like, oh my god, and now we've got both, and now we have Suicide Squad, and we have so many other films that are coming out, especially this year. This year's been like an opening door to just nerd them. It's so good. I'm so happy.
So yeah, he's writing Justice League. He mentioned that he doesn't know he's going to do Justice League 2 at the minute. But anyway,
it's
still early days. Obviously, we know we got Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne / Batman. Henry Cavill returns to be Clark Kent / Superman. Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams. Lawrence Fishburne is back as Perry White. But we also got some new cast. Obviously, they wanted to reach out to this DC universe.
They're starting. Yeah, exactly. They're starting to just amplify it now.
And you can't really kick off the DC universe without having, you know, the Trinity there. And it's going to be Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman.
What are your thoughts on her?
I'm rooting for her. Okay, you know what I mean? Like,
same.
She hasn't been in enough films for me to go, that's a great casting. Do you know what I mean? I mean, physically she's amazing. Definitely got the look.
She's definitely it's a believable Wonder Woman.
Exactly. Like some people were complaining about the way she looks.
A lot of people were saying, why doesn't she look white or why doesn't she look American? Because in the comics that's what she looks like. And I'm like, no. She's an Amazonian. Like she comes from Greek mythology. Exactly. Like she doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense. That's just. Which is why
I kind of like that the cast girl got up. She's Israeli, so she's got that sort of accent from that side of the world.
Yeah, kind of that exotic,
the Mediterranean, Aegean sort
exactly,
of. So yeah, and then we've also got Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
I've come to love Jesse Eisenberg.
I've always thought he was a bit of hit and miss for me, but it's the same as well. I've come to sort of like his portrayal.
Well, what did you think of when they first announced him as Lex Luthor? What were your initial thoughts?
I was like, yeah, okay.
Right.
He wasn't my first choice. I wouldn't have put him as my first choice.
Yeah.
I was really hoping maybe like there was rumors going around that Bryan Cranston.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I would love it if Bryan Cranston did it. But at the same time, I like the approach that they're doing. Maybe actually, Bryan Cranston would have been too close to Breaking Bad because he still got that like
the dark,
authoritative kind of like calm, intelligent man kind of thing, which I think would be too similar. So I think it's actually a better choice that they did go for.
Yeah, I mean, I like the direction they're going with. Now, what we saw in that the second trailer that we saw, people had complaints about the way he acted, that he was a bit too goofy, right?
Yeah.
And I was a bit hesitant about that as well. I was thought, I don't know if I'm gonna like that goofy. Yeah, although I'm really hoping that it's a persona he puts on, much like Bruce Wayne puts on a persona when he's Bruce Wayne.
Absolutely.
And Clark Kent as well. So but
it's like an alter ego
sort of thing. But behind the curtains, he's this mad, crazy scientist villain sort of.
Yeah, because we've always seen him in other films as like the goofy kid. But then, have you seen Now You See Me, that magic film?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
I think that gave me a completely different idea of how he acts because he was so much more confident and he was so like he brought a completely different character that I'd never seen him before. So I can tell that he's going to be a great Lex Luthor because he's almost like fangirling about the gladiator match.
I know, he's sort of, it seems that Zack Snyder have sort of, that made Luthor make this fight happen in a way. He's sort of like the puppet master. I like
so
that.
Cool,
And like you said, he seems really enthusiastic, but crazy at the same time that these two heroes are fighting and he's sort of, controlling what's going on. Another thing that people were saying about Jesse Eisenberg's Luthor was his hair. His hair. They were saying, why is he not bald? In the comics, like his first sort of outcomings, like Luthor, he had long red hair.
Oh yeah, he had,
about the same length. So that's direct from the comic. Although I think you're going to see him bald by the end of the film.
Yeah, we've seen images of Jesse Eisenberg.
We've seen images
with his hair gone.
He's come out and said, like, they asked him what was the day like when you shaved it, and he said it was terrifying. So next up we got Jeremy Irons as Alfred. What was your thought when they cast Jeremy Irons as Alfred?
Perfect, absolutely amazing. I mean, it's so much closer to the kind of the animated series or the Batman Dark Knight Returns series, where he is still fathering and he's still very like he loves Bruce Wayne and he's brought him up and all that, but he goes with him on the missions, which I think is amazing.
I love that.
I can tell that he's got like the military background.
You can see that because like he wouldn't have he'd need to have some form of military background to be handling all the technology that Bruce Wayne has, because we see in the trailer that he's sort of in a way autopiling the shit while Batman's off beating some bad guys.
But he's right there with him, exactly.
But he's right there with him, and that relationship, the banter that those two have, that is straight out of the animated series.
So good.
Even You Got Too Old to Die Young, Not for Lack of Trying. It's very sarcastic, but very sort of formal as well.
Yeah, exactly. But not to the point of just being like, stick up his ass kind of thing. Like, he's still quite hands-on.
It's very much like, as well as a father relationship, it's very sort of like brother.
Yeah, like it's a little bit of both, isn't it? Like a big brother kind of thing.
Sort of thing. Yeah. And like he's still there to tell him to when he's being stupid.
Absolutely. Trying to bring him to
tell
reason.
Him to grow up a bit.
Exactly.
So you couldn't have cast anyone better than
Jeremy. Oh no.
So those are the sort of the main characters we got, and then we got a couple of cameos.
Tell me about the cameos.
Right. So the biggest cameo, which I think he'll have, I hope anyway, a small part of the film. And that's Aquaman. I'm
kind of expecting Aquaman to be maybe an after-credit scene, or maybe a little bit, or maybe towards the end, just a little bit of I
don't know. I think he's going to be in the movie. We got that poster.
Which how good does he look?
He looks fabulous. They're really embracing the more ragged,
the kingly,
he's
exactly.
actually, he looked like the king of Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly.
He looks like a god,
like the Thor of this universe kind of thing.
He comes from, you know, the mythical background of Atlantis. And we've got Jason Momoa playing Aquaman.
I think I first saw him in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that was my first discovery.
That was my first. And even, he's not speaking English, and he still delivers such an incredible performance. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's just his physical presence.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't speak much in Batman v Superman either. He just sort of comes in, does something cool, maybe says a couple of words.
So like a one-liner.
Yeah, and then goes back in the sea with the fishes.
And they'll just be like,
yeah, it can be like, okay,
am I taking crazy pills? What the hell just happened?
He doesn't have to be in a lot of the film.
I hope not, because I think that would be too much. I think because we already have so many things going on. In a 2.5-hour film, you can only do so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Batman v Superman had us from the moment they announced the title. Batman versus Superman. That is the key of the film here.
Yeah.
That is why we're going to see the film.
Yeah, exactly.
We know they're going to team up. Yes, we know it's called Dawn of Justice, but the main essence of the film has to be Batman versus Superman.
That's the main. That's
it has
the big
to be.
title. Yeah, exactly.
It has to be. Now, if I walk in there and I see like the first hour or an hour and a half is Batman v Superman, the rest of it is, you know, Justice League,
I'm going to be a little disappointed.
I'm going to be a little disappointed
because there needs to be that lead up to the fight, because they can't just go at it immediately. That there's so much to prepare, and we know that Bruce Wayne is very, very good at researching his enemies and knowing how to defeat them. So we're gonna need that.
We're gonna need that. We're gonna need to have more than just one fight of Batman vs Superman. He's got to have that first fight to learn. Yeah. To learn from his mistake. I reckon that first fight will be maybe in that desert scene.
I don't know, because the in the desert scene when Batman's chained up and he takes off his mask, there's a little recognition there. I think
they must know who they are.
Well, but that's what I mean. Like, I don't think that in their initial fight they will.
I don't know, because the thing is, I'm very curious about that scene. Because we still don't actually know what the hell is that scene. I call it the Mad Max Batman. Guns and crazy stuff
snapping a guy's neck.
What? Okay, he kills now. So, and a lot of people are saying like it's a dream sequence. And
or an alternate universe.
Or alternate universe.
Like an Earth 2 kind of thing.
And then you see weird things flying in the air, like, what are those? And then Warner Brothers released this picture of Batman looking over this desolate wasteland.
You see like a destroyed city kind of thing,
And then burned into the ground is the Omega symbol. Now, if that's not a confirmation for Darkseid, I don't know what is.
Explain a little bit more about that.
Darkseid has his symbol, the Omega symbol, from the planet Apocalypse. If it's that scene where we see Batman in the desert looking over,
do you think that's the planet?
I don't think it's Apocalypse, but I think it could be an Earth, and that is like maybe the beginning, or at least a hint of Darkseid. And then a lot of people pointing out that maybe those flying creatures are Darkseid's parademons. I don't know how that's going to work in the film.
I really don't know.
Because that scene, it doesn't look like it's going to be at the end of the film. It looks like it's somewhere in the middle.
Do you know what? I reckon that might be a beginning scene, maybe? Personally, I would be really happy if that was the beginning scene, because like that's what I mean about the recognition. When he takes off his mask, he immediately recognizes Bruce Wayne, and then we go back to how...
See, I don't know. I think, personally, I think it'd be wise if the first sort of 45 minutes of the film was very Batman heavy, because we need to get on board with Batman again.
Right? We need to be introduced to Batman.
There's been a lot of stuff about Ben Affleck. We're going to get into that, but what was your first reactions when you found out that Ben Affleck was going to be cast as Batman?
When it was announced, I hadn't seen the more recent films directed and starred in Ben Affleck. My first reaction was, what? Oh, okay. But then I remembered my reaction from years ago when I found out Heath Ledger was the Joker. I was completely on that hate train. I was like, what? Why Heath Ledger? What the hell? And then I saw the film and I was like, oh. So I'm completely reserving judgment and very optimistic. I think that he will do a really good job. But again, remains to be seen. I'm very optimistic about the Batfleck.
I was one of the only people on the internet, I think, that day that was praising Warner Brothers for this.
But you got a lot of love for that.
Everyone was against me. Now, I said this from day one. Ben Affleck as Batman was the perfect casting. What a lot of people don't know is that Ben Affleck is a huge Batman fan.
He's best friends with Kevin Smith.
He's best friends with Kevin Smith. You know, nerds out there, you must know who Kevin Smith is.
By now, if you don't,
shake your head and go to sleep. Ben Affleck's got a Batcave. Right, this was before...
When you told me that, I was like, wait, what do you mean Ben Affleck's got a Batcave?
Ben Affleck has got a Batcave under his house. Okay, this was before he was even cast as Batman. So yeah, that was the perfect casting because Ben Affleck understands Bruce Wayne. You see, I'm already thinking he's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a huge comic book fan, especially of the Batman, characters and all his family.
Because that's the thing, people will immediately judge without knowing the facts. If they know like who's involved, the people who are doing it now, the people who's director, producing, etc., you will know that it's all fans. So why would they cast someone who doesn't understand it?
Exactly.
Or why would they cast someone who wouldn't be right for it?
The problem with people on the internet is just they only see one thing, and you can't do that. Until you see the movie, you don't have an opinion.
I suppose you're entitled to, but you really should. You should reserve judgment until you actually see the film.
You can have an opinion of your anticipation, but at the end of the day, that means nothing until you've seen the movie. I do it, you do it, everyone does it. So everyone should just chill out. I'm telling you, my boy Ben, he's gonna smash it. We're gonna get a great Batman, I think. We're gonna get an even better Bruce Wayne, I think.
The very small bits that we've seen of him being Bruce Wayne were perfect.
From all the trailers we've seen, that one of my favourite shots was when he's talking to Alfred, and he's saying like he has the power to wipe out the entire human race. If there is even a 1% chance he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Word by word, well done.
That line just describes Batman and Bruce Wayne in a nutshell.
Exactly.
You could see that Ben Affleck embodies that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think he's going to smash it. I think he's going to be one of the outstanding performances of the film. In terms of him overshadowing Henry Cavill,
that's another thing that people have been talking about, because there's been so much Batman in the marketing and everything. Do you think it will overshadow a little bit of Superman? It'll take a bit more screen time, all that?
Well, when this film was actually first announced, he didn't have a title yet for a few months. I think like nearly a year. So everyone. It was just the Man of Steel sequel. And there were a lot of things going about Batman, like everyone's, who's Batman? Who's going to be that? And then the suit, and then the Batmobile was released, and we're like, Man of Steel fans were like, Batman's overshadowing Superman in Superman's own movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You can't face the facts. Batman is the most, popular DC character there is.
But nowadays specifically,
because I think society now, we prefer that sort of darker edge.
It's not just that. I think it's also because Batman's had so many more films than Superman. I think in recent days, like obviously
with the Dark Knight trilogy.
It's kind of propelled the Batman popularity.
Until they announced it was Batman vs Superman, I was thought, okay, cool. It's not a Man of Steel sequel because it's not. It's a sequel in terms of the DC universe and where they're going, but it's not a direct sequel.
Exactly. That's what a lot of people need to realize, especially the Man of Steel fans. It's bigger now. It's bigger than Superman.
So I think in the marketing, yes. I think Batman has definitely overshadowed Superman because he is the more popular character. Because we're introducing a new We've seen Superman. We've seen Henry Cavill as Superman from Man of Steel. We know what he's like. I personally loved him as Superman. He's a great Superman and Clark Kent.
He's like a multifaceted character, and we've now known him. I mean, very shortly. I think Man of Steel, he was just introduced. He hasn't really developed. So I believe that in this film you will see that development. In terms of marketing, yes, Batman has overshadowed it, but I don't think he will in the film.
It's also, from what it looks like the Batman we've always wanted to see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Frank Miller take, the darker tone, the brute sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
But that doesn't mean that he's going to be overshadowing Superman.
Yeah.
We just need to get his origin story at the beginning, get that out of the way. We all know your parents died. Seen that. We've seen that a million times before. But you can't have a Batman movie without showing it. It's just the way it is. So we got the two worlds colliding, Gotham and Metropolis. I really like that they've made them sort of sister cities.
It's a really, really good idea because it makes Gothamites feel so much more smaller and poor and worse when they're looking at this beautiful haven for humanity.
Yeah, exactly. And then it makes even more sense why Bruce Wayne was in Metropolis at the time of the destruction of Metropolis.
Yeah, it's more. It's like
he's just going there to do some business meetings,
Commutes back. Exactly.
So and you just hop on a train and you're back in Gotham.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me a little bit more about the marketing for this.
Well, I think they've done a really good job.
Yeah.
I think apart from that, that one trailer, you know which one I'm talking about, the one that revealed Doomsday. Hear me out, okay? I don't think they showed us too much. I think they just showed us the wrong thing. Apart from the last sort of 30 seconds of the trailer, I really liked that trailer.
Yeah.
Like the beginning where the when Bruce is talking to Clark in that dinner party, that relationship was awesome. The dialogue was really good. And then, you know, they show some really cool action scenes. But it was just that last sort of thing. It was about, like, you didn't need to show us. Because we knew, I think what Warner Brothers were trying to do was, because a lot of people were confused, it was like, wait, why are Batman and Superman fighting? You know, that they wanted to show something that goes, well, they're friends at the end. You know, I think they sort of were a bit ignorant of that. I think, like, you know, people aren't that stupid.
I don't think they misunderstood the fans. I think it was just a bad judgment call.
Yeah.
I think it was just a bad decision.
It was a swing and it was a miss. But this is what Warner Brothers are really good at. Warner Brothers listened to the fans. Yeah. Since then, since that outbreak, when everyone was screaming, we want more Batman v Superman footage. What has all the marketing been about? It's been about Batman versus Superman.
Exactly.
People are screaming about it. We still haven't heard Wonder Woman speak. We've now got some dialogue from Wonder Woman. Apart from that, I think all the marketing has been amazing. And then we got that final trailer, which was not, for me, not as good as the Comic-Con one. It just gave you a bit more footage, and it had that rock soundtrack and stuff like that. That shot where Superman tries to punch Batman.
Oh my god, and he stops him, and Superman's like, what?
So I'm just like, just take my money.
Take all of it.
Take all of it. Just give me the film now. I'm uber ready for this film. So yeah, what do you expect out of the film? Like, what do you think is going to be a rating?
I am going to give it a very solid 9 beards.
9 golden beards.
9 golden, because I think it'll be a very good film. Even if I'm not super comfortable with the, I don't know, with the storytelling or whatever, I'll still be very entertained. I've already bought the tickets. I've got it all booked. I've got it all prepared, and I think it's going to be an incredible film.
I'm going to expect it to be an 8 beards.
Okay.
I'm going to give it 8 beards.
So you're being a bit more cautious,
I'm going to be a bit more cautious.
Yeah.
Just in case. I want to give it 10, but we'll see. How much money do you think this is going to make?
From what we've talked about before films coming out, you've had some really good predictions. So I want to hear your prediction.
I'm gonna say it's gonna make over 200 million.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know. It's obviously it's not gonna be Star Wars.
What's the record now? What's
Star Wars?
Star Wars
weekend. Yeah,
opening weekend.
258 million in opening weekend, which is incredible. I'm gonna snap. This is a colossal movie. This is the 2 biggest superheroes we've ever seen coming on the big screen for the first time together, fighting. You know, this is the start of the Justice League. I'm gonna say this movie is gonna make over $200 million. 200
million. All right.
Batman v Superman is now the 2nd highest grossing film in terms of advanced printed sales behind The Force Awakens. People are wanting to see this film.
They were expecting it.
And you all should go see it. On the 25th of March, you know where to go. Go down to your local cinema, buy your tickets.
If you don't have your tickets yet, go get your tickets now.
It's gonna sell out.
Get the good seats. I'm very excited
Super
about it.
excited.
And I think it'll be great. Yeah.
I think it'll be very cool.
Alright, so that brings us to the end of our video. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Jose, this is Jake, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Take it easy.